the first question is, I would like to know, in the beginning, which was the main reason that you got involved in guitar playing and singing?
You know, it's really funny because my parents bought me an acoustic guitar for Christmas one year. And I never really asked for one. I remember as a kid, my mother had a very extensive record collection, and I used to walk around the house singing songs with her. Whatever, whether it was country music or rock and roll or, and apparently they bought me the guitar, and then I became addicted to the Beatles. Wow. Seeing the Beatles on TV and different videos of them. And again, it was like, there was something about them I didn't know. I was very little, but there was some sort of excitement inside from what I was seeing. I just started playing and trying to learn how to play Hey Jude and just different songs. And I wound up joining a talent show at my school with a few friends. We put a little band together for a talent show, and we played House of the Rising Sun by a band called The Animals, and we played I'm Not Your Stepping Stone by the Monkees. And we won. And at that point, I was addicted to the applause and the fact that my father took me out for pizza after I won the thing. I said, this is pretty awesome. So I want to do this for a living.
Amazing, amazing. And your mother also was a big influence on the music, right?
It's funny because I'm the first person in my family to play an instrument. Mm-hmm. But my mother was, like I said, she had a very extensive record collection. And she was one of the type, like she would just, back in the day, like the big vinyl albums, she would put a bunch of different records on and then clean the house or make breakfast or while she was cooking. But the records would go from, Frank Sinatra to Glenn Campbell to a band called Gary Puckett in the Union Gap. Yeah. And, just all these different types of music. And another band that she loved was Sergio Mendes in Brazil 66. Mm-hmm. And she listened to all these different records, and there was always music in my house.
Awesome.
And she belonged to this, they used to have them, I don't know if they had them there in Argentina, but in America they had these things, it was like a record club. Mm-hmm. So the first time you would buy, for like 1 penny, you would buy 13 albums.
Wow.
And then they made a profile. Yeah. And from your choices, they like, okay, so she likes Sergio Mendes, but she also likes Glenn Campbell. So anytime those artists came out with a new record, they sent it to her. And if she kept it, she paid for it. Uh-huh. So she had thousands of records.
Amazing.
So the music was always very eclectic, but always going. Mm-hmm. When my mom turned me on to bands like Chicago, I didn't realize it, but she even had the 45 of Aerosmith's Dream On before I even realized who Aerosmith was. Mm-hmm. I found out about Aerosmith from a later record, Get Your Wings. Yeah. And then when I became a fan, I went back and I bought their first album. And then when I heard Dream On, I'm like, oh, wait, my mom's had this record for years. Do you know what I mean? So it was always playing, and that just really kind of piqued my interest about music.
The next question that I have is, you know, after you leave the band, The Scream, I would like to know, how was your audition process before being the lead singer in Mötley Crüe, and how was your experience playing those years with the band? But because that was the first time that I heard you sing, and was on Mötley Crüe. So
Yeah.
I really love the album because it's totally different from the other Mötley Crüe albums. It's like more musical, and I love the tuning. The down, like, it sounds more heavy, you know. So
Well, that was not that the tuning thing was not my choice. That's what they had always done their entire career, like even their first record. And I think it was to make the guitars sound heavier. They always took, like, I don't know, do you play guitar at all, or?
yes.
Well, if you go on a guitar, like the low string is the E string. Well, they would take it and tune it down a whole step to D, and the rest of the guitar. And that was the first time that was the first time I had any experience with that. Like I was like, all the stuff that I record, I mean, even still to this day, like I record Possibile is in standard tuning, regular, you know. So when they did that, I was like, wow, what, like, why don't you bring it up? And they're like, no, our guitars sound heavier, lower. Okay, so but the audition, I just went in, I didn't know the guys. I called them to say thank you for an interview that Nicky had done where he had mentioned the band The Scream. And I just wanted to call and say thank you. And that's when they told me that Vince was out, and they wanted me to come down. And at that point, I didn't really know a lot of their music. So my first 3 songs that I sang with them was Helter Skelter, Jailhouse Rock, and Smoking in the Boys' Room, because I knew them from the original recordings.
Exactly.
And then I think I don't remember the songs we did, but we did maybe 3 of their songs: Live Wire, Shout at the Devil, and something from Dr. Feelgood. And then they asked me to come back the next day. And I went back the next day, and we did the same thing. And then we just started jamming, and we actually started working on the song Hammered.
Yeah.
And they went, this is great. I love the fact that you can play guitar. You know, they loved at that point how the song Hammered was being developed. And they just said, you know what, you're the guy. Welcome to the Crue. And then at that point, the next 5 years was insanity at best. It was just crazy.
Wow, amazing.
Good times though.
Yeah. Which highlights can you tell us when you were part of the Crue, of the band? That you, I mean, you have so many, but
yeah, you know what, honestly, probably one of the fun things was getting to meet some of the people that I met with them. You know, I got to meet all like a lot of my heroes, my idols. I got to meet Steven Tyler. I got to meet Robert Plant. I got to meet Brian Johnson from AC/DC. I met Glenn Hughes at one of our first rehearsals. Glenn just came by, and I was just like, oh, it's, you know, and I just kept thinking, like, that picture of Glenn at the California Jam in the white suit with the long hair, screaming like a banshee on Burn.
Yeah, that's my all-time favorite live show, 1974, Deep Purple, man.
Yeah, and I'm sitting there, I'm like, holy God, like, I remember as a kid staying up to watch that show in America. We had a show called Don Kirshner's Rock Concert. And they played that Cal Jam thing for like 2 days. You know, they played all the bands. And I just remember seeing Deep Purple play Burn, and I was like, who's that guy? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And just so having the opportunity to meet all those guys and just hang out with them like one-on-one as people, and just have a drink or just sit and bullshit with them was just awesome. It was amazing. And then probably one of my other biggest highlights was being in the studio when we were doing Misunderstood, and having a 53-piece orchestra play with us on that track, and then turn around and have Glenn Hughes come back again and sing it with me was just like, pinch me. You know what I mean? I was like, I can't believe this is happening. So it was all very surreal.
Wow, amazing, amazing. Can you tell us how the union was created, and how was your experience playing with the great guitar player, Bruce Kulick?
You know what, Bruce, I had met Bruce several times at Nikki's house. And my ex-wife had done Bruce's makeup and hair for a few photo sessions with Kiss. So I had met Bruce several times, and when, you know, it was funny with Union, we were both going through the exact same things at the same time. Like, he had just lost the Kiss gig. I just lost the Motley gig. We were going through some personal things with our wives and girlfriends that were very similar. And maybe to some degree, we were very nervous about what the future held for us. So I don't know if Bruce called me or I called him, but we wound up talking on the phone, and we just said, hey, you know, let's get together and write and just see how it goes. So I went over to Bruce's house, and we sat, we talked obviously for probably an hour before we even played music, because he's like, oh, you know, no Kiss gig. And I'm like, oh, no Motley gig. And, you know, my wife left me and my girlfriend left me, and it was just, you know, therapy. And then we sat down and we wrote the very first song that we ever wrote together. Was a song on the first record called Around Again. And we went, oh, that was pretty easy. You want to get together again tomorrow? Okay, cool. So we just kept kind of getting together, trying to write some music together, therapy for each other. You know, and we just said, you know what, let's fucking put a band together, and just let's do this. So I love Bruce. Bruce and I are like brothers. You know, in a lot of ways, we're like oil and water. Sometimes you put the two together and it makes a great salad dressing. Do you know what I mean? Yes. Other times it's like, but I love Bruce. We're very dear friends. I think he's an incredible guitar player, very underrated. And I think there's a huge amount of respect for each other and our talents. It was funny, even when I released the video for Così Bella, Bruce was one of the first to say, dude, great song. I love this. Congratulations. Do you know what I mean? So we're very aware of what the other's doing at all times. But I love Bruce. I think he's an underrated guitar player, underrated songwriter. Just a great guy.
Yeah, he's amazing. The next question is, you wrote a book called Horseshoes and Hand Grenades. What is this?
Yes.
What is this book is all about, and how the people here in Latin America can get it or buy it?
Well, I'm hoping that it's available in South America. It's basically an autobiography. It's not a, you know, a lot of people thought it would be a tell-all book on Mötley Crüe or whatever. It's not. It just goes through my life from childhood, my parents divorcing. There's if you followed the Motley record, you know there's a song in there called Uncle Jack about, unfortunately, my uncle who molested a bunch of children. Talks about that, marriages, failed marriages, and to be honest with you, the fact that I'm still trying to figure out where I fit in the music business. Obviously, anybody that knows my career knows the Motley record wasn't a success. And I've just been one of those guys that has been trying to find his place. You know, I'm not what we call in America. I'm not a household name like Nikki Sixx or Vince Neil or Steven Tyler. You know, people say, "Oh, this new song by John Corabi," and everybody goes, "Wait, why does that name sound familiar?"
Yeah.
They have to think about it for a minute.
Well, there in the US, probably you have that problem, but here in Argentina, there's a lot of people. I mean, a lot of people that knows who you are. You know?
And that's why I wished I lived in Argentina, because I will say this: you guys, just all of South America, has been so kind to Union, the Dead Daisies.
Yeah.
And I even me, like I remember doing God, I did a show with some friends where they invited me down and they learned a bunch of my music, and we played in Buenos Aires and it was packed.
Yeah.
You know, so the fans have always been so cool and embraced me. And I can't thank them enough. But you know, in certain areas, yes, I'm very popular, but, you know, still not on the level of, you know, a Vince Neil or a Nikki Sixx, Steven Tyler, Mick Jagger, you know what I mean? So, you know, so the book just basically goes through my whole life. And I think the one lesson in it is, you know, I believe in myself. I believe that someday I will write a song that truly, truly connects with everybody. I don't think I've written it yet.
Okay.
I'm keeping my fingers crossed. I'm praying. I'm hoping, but you know, it's just about perseverance, believing in yourself, and keep fighting to be where you want to be.
Exactly. That's very, very.
And where I want to be is, I want to make enough money so that I can retire in Argentina. Casi Bella has been doing amazing on all Spotify and iHeartRadio and all the streaming sites. But my hope is that the fans that are streaming it will also go over and just download the song, because that's where the artists make their money.
Exactly.
You know, so I don't know, like ultimately I'm going to release another single and another video and another single and another video. I'm going to keep doing this.
Yes.
And then eventually, once I get maybe 4 or 5 songs, I'll put out some vinyl and some CDs that I can sell on my website and sell on Amazon and sell at my shows.
Let's talk about the song. I was listening to the song, and it really has that kind of like Beatles vibe sometimes. That's what I get from the song. You know, it sounds like All You Need Is Love, kind of like the rhythm. You know, and where you get the inspiration. And another question is, you use a lot of Italian words, and also I know that you have a tattoo in Italian, and I would like to know what is your relationship with the language.
Well, unfortunately, I can't speak it. I'm Italian.
Yeah.
I think I'm the only Italian on earth that doesn't speak Italian. But I would eventually, you know, my grandparents came from Calabria, Italy, and I would love to be able to go back there and converse with, you know, in Italian. The only reason why the song is called Così Bella is because when I wrote the lyrics and I was looking at the title, it was just so beautiful. Man. And I'm going, wow, it's kind of boring, average.
Yeah.
So then I was looking at all the lyrics, trying to figure out like how I could make it maybe a little more glamorous or whatever. And then it dawned on me on my phone, I had a translation app. So I went on, I tried French, I tried Latin, or Spanish, I tried, you know, all these different languages. And for some reason, Così Bella just stood out to me. I'm like, oh, that's kind of cool. Così Bella. Yeah. You know, and then it's just so beautiful in Italian. Yeah, so that's what I went with. And then in parentheses, everybody said, when I first started playing the song for friends, they go, what the fuck does Così Bella mean? And so then I put Così Bella in parentheses. So beautiful. So beautiful. You know what I mean? Yeah, yeah. I don't know how do you say so beautiful in Spanish?
Cosa bella.
So close. It's very close.
Yeah, here in Argentina, it's like we are very influenced by the Italians also. So it's like a huge influence besides the Spanish language. You know.
Now let me ask you this. Sorry, I don't mean to interview you, but the language in Argentina is Spanish. Yes. Is it the same as, say, Mexico or Puerto Rico? So there's differences.
Way too different. Yeah, even the way we express ourselves. It's kind of like, you know, when you go to Florida, the south part of the country, like South Carolina, you get an accent.
Yeah.
In New York, it sounds like more Italian English, kind of like.
Yeah.
Whereas it's kind of like the same thing here in Argentina. We sound like a mixture of Italian and Spanish. It's like kind of weird. Well, John, it has been a tremendous honor for me and a dream come true talking to you, because it's like I really admire your vocal skills and your songs and your experience, you know, playing with so many bands, and I'm really thankful for this, you know.
Thank you, my friend. And you know, please tell your listeners and your viewers and your readers, please tell their friends about the new song.
Of course.
Stream it, but don't forget to download. Don't forget that part. And hopefully I'll see you guys soon in South America. I would love that.
All right. Okay.
Awesome, buddy.
We keep in touch. Thank you so much.
I hope so. Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.